Rafa Benitez is renowned as a details man, someone who views a football team as a system into which players must fit, aided by thorough preparation and detailed instruction. At the time of recording, his Newcastle side have recorded 3 wins so far, as well as a creditable draw against Liverpool from 7 games played. Newcastle have been more regular in their formation than any league side so far, sticking to a 4-2-3-1. The main stylistic change has been whether the creative Jamsheree or the more combative Isaac Hayden has played alongside metronomic passer Mikel Merino in central midfield. Otherwise, the Magpies are, injuries notwithstanding, a fairly settled side. Defensively, Newcastle's 4-2-3-1 sits back into a 4-5-1 when in a low block. They defend aggressively in the low block, hassling and occasionally fouling the man in possession, but they don't press assertively otherwise. Newcastle's attack focuses largely around 2 outstanding players, Matt Ritchie and Ayoze Perez. Generally, Merino and Hayden or Shelvey are tasked with winning back possession in the middle of the pitch and then releasing the front 4, of whom Ritchie and Perez are the most dangerous. The aim is to transition the ball with speed and verticality, with long flat passes through the centre or out wide. Perez sits in the hole but certainly gets forward of preferred striker Joselu as well. He also drifts left and right, which can have different explanations tactically. Christian Atsu, a tricky quick winger with good dribbling skills, likes to come deep to get the ball to then have the space to run into, and the left fullback generally pushes up less. This creates space for Perez to move into and then play quick interchanges with Atsu, either to feed him for an overlap or drift even wider as the Ghanaian winger cuts inside. On the right, Ritchie, who is left-footed with a stinging long-range shot, loves to cut inside. Perez's movement here, often deeper than it is on the left, creates room for Ritchie's shooting angle by drawing a centre-back with him as he runs across. It also allows Newcastle to overload the right half space, much as Spurs do in the left half space, creating opportunities for quick give-and-goes. Joselu or Dwight Gale, who seem to be defined as workmanlike, but both weighed in significantly for the Magpies in the Championship and are willing runners, are there to pressure the opposition centre-backs and play on the shoulder for the long raking through balls that Newcastle try to play. Newcastle like to play with width, maximising the potential for Ritchie and Atsu to cause problems, and so the centre-backs and midfield axis are often quite stretched horizontally across the pitch, while the full-backs push high. This is especially the case on the right, where DeAndre Yedlin or Javier Manquillo have greater licence to push up behind Ritchie's inside runs. While Kieran Clark, the left centre-back, pushes up somewhat to act as a ball-playing defender, Jamal Lascelles hangs back to try and ensure that Newcastle aren't caught out on the break. Nonetheless, Newcastle are vulnerable to teams who attack at pace through the half spaces, as their wide disposition sees those channels quite open. And while Atsu and Ritchie do get back, their efforts at tackling quite often result in the concession of fouls. Their aggressive wing play also puts a serious emphasis on the defensive covering work of the midfield too, almost certainly the reason why Hayden has been largely preferred to the more creative Shelvey, and why Merino in particular has stood out with his tidy passing and high work rate. Newcastle look like a strong side though. While much of their game seems predicated on countering with pace and through long passes, which is partly why they've averaged only 42% possession this season with 71% passing accuracy, their quality out wide and in the 10 role means they can attack well and pose opposition teams difficult questions. Benitez has worked well with a largely unchanged squad from the one that won promotion, and Newcastle already look good enough to stay the course this term. People often ask us where we get our stats for these videos. A great place to start is the OneFootball app. The app offers a fairly comprehensive statistical coverage of teams and players in-game and post-match, so there's a link in the description of this video if you'd like to download it. Thanks for watching.